Hey, what's up, guys? I think the stream. Hey, what's up, guys? I think the stream is going now. Hope you guys are doing well. This is completely unannounced. I just wanted to jump on and talk about some stories and things that have been on my mind. Hey, what's up, my love cocktail? Hope you don't throw any of those at people. Truther. What's up, Jazza? All right, I guess I can share this link somewhere and let people know that we're doing this. But I know this is going to be a video afterwards, so I guess I should just jump right in here. I wanted to talk about the noosphere and the global brain concept because, while everybody is totally freaking out about the race wars and just, man, everything has been crazy in the mainstream media and even like the alternative media combating all of it. And just I think everybody's getting sucked into hating each other right now. And in the meantime, there's all this stuff going on, all this stuff happening behind the scenes that people don't highlight. And so that's kind of the stuff that I've been trying to talk about and highlight. Because, on one hand, if I comment on things going on, it's going to get lost in the shuffle a little bit. I don't know how much of a difference I can make. I've run into people, Christians especially, kind of really make my blood boil, who are really buying the mainstream media narrative and using their talking points to defend their position on stuff. And it just drives me kind of nuts. So I don't want to talk about any of that because it drives me crazy to see all of that. But I wanted to discuss the noosphere, Teilhard de Chardin. So Teilhard de Chardin is a Jesuit priest who lived in, I think, the early 1900s, and he's the guy that came up with the noosphere, the concept of a noosphere, which is very similar to a global brain concept where we're all kind of becoming this singular organism. And the thing that's really interesting is that in Deschardins, Teilhard Deschardins' own writings, he talks about this inspiration he got. Now, he calls it an inspiration from God, but in this quote here, he said this journey began with an awareness of a subtle presence, capital P presence. Okay, now that was a red flag to me because we've heard that in other Christian sort of authors and stuff who have a sort of a new age bent to their theology. And one that's very popular is Sarah Young's Jesus Calling. And in Jesus Calling, she definitely uses my presence, capital letters, capital M, capital P. And, it's just one of those things that jumped out like, oh, wait a minute. He's getting information from the presence, just like Sarah Young did. And we know Sarah Young's Jesus Calling. If you really dig into it, the theology is kind of messed up. They're basically peddling new age philosophies. It's creeping in. It has been creeping in for a long time, but this is just a great example of it. And anyway, so it's interesting to think that Teilhard de Chardin got this inspiration at that time because it seems like a lot of people were getting inspiration of some kind, this sort of next evolution of man type of inspiration around the beginning of the 1900s. And Teilhard de Chardin is one of those guys that talked about that. So why do I bring that up? Because now, today, we're seeing craziness. Technology is just exploding in this crazy way. This article is, I don't know, a few months old, I guess. 10 emerging technologies to watch by Scientific American. And they actually have a PDF. I think I have it open here. Yeah, so let me go through these real quick because this is by the World Economic Forum. This is their global agenda. This is part of Agenda 2030. It's the same stuff. They keep telling us in public through documents like this what they want to do, but most people, most Christians especially, are asleep to this stuff. So let's get into it. First off, we have non-invasive biopsies for identifying cancer. Ultra-sensitive blood tests known as liquid biopsies promise to improve diagnosis and care. That's a good thing. I would want that. It's non-invasive. It's just going to help detect cancer. The same cancer that they've been creating out of poisoning our food and water and air and everything else, right? Oh, they have a solution for us. How wonderful. Hang on one second, guys, baby. All right, that's what you're going to get for live stream. You want to say hi to the people? She's 5 months old, guys. So I apologize for that. Um, so number two, harvesting clean water from air. Yeah, so one of the things that was talked about by people like General MacArthur back in 1962 during his, I think it was 62 or 63, maybe it was a little later, during his farewell speech to the graduates at, gosh, where was it? It was some university where he went to. I think it was West Point. He talked about some of these technologies. So, they've been working on this stuff for a long time, and they didn't roll it out immediately because that would be too much freedom, too much peace on Earth. They needed to create the problem so that they can control the solution. I think this is another part of it. Deep learning for visual tasks. AI now rivals or exceeds the ability of experts in medicine and other fields to interpret what they see. Now, this is kind of creepy because we're talking about robot doctors. Okay, we're talking about machines that are going to create. Hold on one second. Getting text messages from family here. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, this is why I don't really do live stream that often, because there's just stuff happening in life all the time and I can't always edit that stuff out. But yeah, so having deep learning for visual tasks, AI robots basically, being able to diagnose things better than humans. Obviously, the human element is still going to be there to assist in that, to double check to see if the machines are making the correct assessment. But this is all leading to artificial robot doctors, AI doctors, basically. Liquid fuels from sunshine, artificial leaf technology converts carbon dioxide to fuels and more. It's pretty good idea. But what are they building all this stuff for, right? What's the purpose? What are they going to apply it to? I think it'll become more obvious later on. The Human Cell Atlas, an international project, is set to detail how every cell type in the body functions. This is similar to the brain mapping. This is similar to the DNA mapping. Now they're creating a Human Cell Atlas. That word atlas has been everywhere. I've noticed it all over the place. Obviously, we have the Atlas machine at CERN as part of it. It's part of a video game. I think it's called No Man's Sky, which is not very popular, but it's a alternate reality game, and that's when the game itself or the game world kind of intermingles with the real world in certain ways. There's a bunch of other places. I had a list, and I might make a video on that alone because I'm serious, guys. It is everywhere. The word Atlas is being used. Metallica had a song called Atlas Rising. So this is something to keep an eye on, and I know you guys have been noticing this as well. Let's see, precision farming. Did they use the same picture as the other one here? Oh yeah, good job, World Economic Forum. Very creative. Precision farming, combining sensors and real-time data analytics improves yields. So yes, controlled farming. With all the good ways you can keep things clean. Affordable catalysts for green vehicles, reducing the platinum in fuel cell catalysts could help bring hydrogen-powered vehicles to the mass market. Okay, hydrogen-powered, electric-powered, just different kinds of cars. This one's really interesting. Number 8, genomic vaccines. Vaccines composed of DNA or RNA instead of proteins can enable the rapid development of preventatives for infectious disease. Wow, really? They're going to pump artificial, synthetic, or maybe other animal or some kind of created hybrid DNA, RNA into our system to prevent from infectious disease. This is getting pretty Orwellian, pretty weird. I wouldn't want to get pumped full of DNA in this sort of way, some sort of injection. So yeah, there's that. Number 9, sustainable design of communities. Moving beyond a focus of solar roofs for single-family homes, ambitious projects are attempting to join blocks of buildings into sustainable units. And this is another part of it. I think when you think about sustainable design, some of these other ones that we mentioned here from up here, the green vehicles, the precision farming, the fuel from sunshine, that stuff is all part of this greater plan to have a sustainable community. And that's part of the smart cities. They're starting to build them already, and they're going to include all of these technologies as part of these smart cities. They want people to be in these small quarters, totally controllable. And I'll get into some pretty interesting, kind of creepy news relating to some of this that I think a lot of us knew about already, but now they're really publishing some of this content. And finally, number 10, quantum computing. With quantum computing available to many, progress towards solving hard problems seems inevitable. And of course, this is the center point here. This is where I believe more is going to happen in terms of a spiritual dimension sort of fusing with the physical dimension. These quantum computers is what I think will bring that about. So that being said, let's see, where am I at with my information here? So yeah, there was a piece of news that came out called this right here, BGR, scientists remotely hacked a brain controlling body movement. And basically, we covered this on Canary Cry News Talk earlier this week. But basically, they when you read this, it's kind of crazy. Scientists have managed to accomplish this science fiction nightmare for real. Let me try to find the passage here. Okay, so it's called Magneto Thermo Stimulation. It requires the implantation of specifically built DNA strands and nanoparticles which attach to specific neurons. But once the minimally invasive procedure is over, the brain can be remotely controlled via an alternating magnetic field. When those magnetic inputs are applied, the particles heat up, causing the neurons to fire. Now, they've already done this with rats. Now, given the technologies that we just talked about, right, the list of 10, and what was it? The DNA injection is part of it, as part of the vaccines. And now they're telling us in this other story that they can implant DNA strands and nanoparticles that attach to the neurons, and then you can be controlled, and body parts can be controlled. That's pretty invasive. That's pretty nefarious, in my opinion. This is the actual paper here. Magnetothermogenetic deep brain stimulation of motor behaviors in awake, freely moving mice. And yeah, I'll leave links to some of this stuff after the video publishes, and you guys can check it out and read about it yourselves. But this is a reality, and if you guys have seen movies like, and recently they had what was the movie with the remake of the 1985 anime? You guys are probably gonna know about it in the chat. I'm just blanking on the name right now because I have a baby pulling on my ear. Ooh, you okay? You okay? All right. The movie was called Ghost in a Shell, and a Ghost in the Shell. And what's interesting is, the premise of the movie, the presupposition, I should say, the presupposition of the film is that humans have souls, right? That humans have a ghost, a sort of soul, a bodiless part of us, our mind, and that was carried on from a past life into this new robotic body, basically this artificial body. But I find that interesting because there's an element of what they're trying to do, and there's a villain in that movie that controls people via this mind upload thing because everyone's connected to the net, and he's able to control various people. This is very similar to the kind of technology that I think they're trying to do with sort of wireless stuff and DNA injections. I mean, it's getting crazy. It's getting hard to keep up, as I called this post here. MIT Technology Review. This was at the beginning of August. Our extended sensoria, how humans will connect with the Internet of Things. Just more talking about everything getting chipped, everything becoming part of the network, everything becoming part of the grid. And the way he describes some of, how we're going to be walking around one of these days, or supposedly, I don't know if I'm going to participate in this, probably not at a deeper level here. I'm not going to, allow myself, or my children for that matter, to get lost in this technology, because I think a certain portion of the population will, and they're leading straight to the mark, straight to the worship of the image. But yeah, you guys can again read this for yourselves. It's the same thing. They're basically saying that on one hand, as society changes, right here, it's the very end. Our essence and our individuality is brokered down organic neurons, and whatever the information ecosystem becomes is a fascinating frontier that promises to redefine humanity. They want to redefine humanity because humans, without God are totally lost. They don't even know what it means to be human. That's how bad it's become. But it was a necessary step, and it all goes back to the theory of evolution, and that leads to nihilism. And there's a whole big, huge spiritual deception happening, and it's everywhere, folks. And it's produced this type of atmosphere, this type of culture, where we're desiring to redefine humanity as we know it, and for the possibility of having it be better and improving and all this stuff, when really that stuff comes from a repentant heart and believing on Jesus Christ. All the promises that you're trying to create through all this technology stuff was given to us by the Creator. So that's why it's really confusing for me why they don't even consider the truth in biblical Christianity. Here you have Tri-Coast Entertainment releases first transhumanism VOD. I think that's video on demand. I'm not sure. Amelia 2.0. You guys can watch the preview here. It's funny how they say that. First transhumanism video on demand. They've had transhumanism as a topic. Oh, you okay? Little choke. They've had transhumanism as a topic for videos for years and years, but somehow this Amelia 2.0 is the first one. So it's here, guys. They're putting it in entertainment, and I watched the preview here, and it's it's just the same stuff. Mind uploading. All the same stuff. And this goes to these are just some of my. I was looking at the alternative or alternate reality game concept. Covered it in a few different videos over the years here, but it's an interesting topic. And just other strange things going on. Okay, I know some of you guys are, telling me about this, and this is weird. Okay, we have the eclipse on Monday, and the Phoenix riots the next day. Talk about Phoenix rising. The occultists want Phoenix to rise out of the ashes of the dollar. All this stuff, right? So now they have Phoenix and some of the turmoil there, and nothing major happened, but they definitely wanted something to happen. And I think it's weird that Trump, despite everything with Charlottesville and everything else, would commit to going to Phoenix and doing it the day after. I'm not going to get into Trump right now; it's too polarizing. But anyway, let's see. So yeah, and then I think the day after, the night of, you had the lightning hit the One World Trade Center. I mean, some of the pictures are quite remarkable, and obviously we know the passages about Jesus seeing Satan fall like lightning. He didn't say he was lightning, but fall like lightning. And, we always kind of have a moment of like, oh my gosh, this is it kind of feeling when you see something like this. But, this kind of thing happens more often than you think. It's just the timing of it that seems to make it strange. And, obviously, we are in some weird times. So it's not a denial of that. We can't just subscribe or ascribe a whole bunch of meaning to this alone, but given all the other points of data, it's just one of those things. Another one of those things that you go, we're living in some pretty wild times, guys, and we need to start recognizing and realizing what's really the important thing here. Not so much, if we should tear down monuments, which that's also important, but not as important as the stuff that's being built all around us while we argue with each other, right? So science news, normally aloof particles of light seen ricocheting off each other. So this is at CERN. They had, for the first time, they were able to see some of these aloof particles of light bouncing off of each other. And actually, Basil and I are doing a whole episode on Canary Cry Radio on the topic of light. And we have pages and pages of notes. It'll be a really fun episode. If you guys have been listening to Canary Cry Radio for a while, you would know that we used to do these topical episodes where we just talk about a bunch of, or a particular topic from a bunch of different angles, scientific, esoteric, conspiracy from the Bible. And we just try to cover the topic thoroughly. Topics like fear. We had a water episode. So we've been working on this one on light. So look out for that. Just a little plug. But yeah, interesting that they would be able to do this and have this progress at CERN. And then I think this was published a few days ago. CERN observes the first ever detailed light spectrum of antihydrogen. And so again, more news coming out of CERN, being able to see stuff. Each element has its own distinct spectrum, just like we have our own distinct DNA And it's all sort of connecting together. You got the alpha, which has the DNA twist in there. This is all part of the whole system, the database, if you will, the portal, right, that they're trying to create between the unseen spiritual world and the digital world. It's really happening, I think. I think more than people realize, they're building this, and we're helping build it in terms of continuing to push the technology, pouring in all the money into these technologies. And yeah, it's one of those things that we need to keep tabs on. So that's all I had for the video. I just wanted to plow through some of this stuff. Again, we're working on that light episode for Canary Cry Radio. You guys can look for that. And then I have been totally ignoring the chat, which I should probably get somebody to mod that. I don't know if it's been good or bad or what. But, oh, geez, I can't even... I'll take some questions since I have a few minutes here, but I don't know if I can scroll through this thing. Sorry, I'm off on my second monitor over here. Let's see. What is the mark of the beast? Tom Locke asks, what is it? More people asking it. Haha, no, son. What is the mark of the beast? Well, that's kind of the question we're trying to figure out, right? We're trying to see how the mark that's written in the Bible, how it can apply, how it can become a thing. And, let's go to Revelation 13. Oh, typing with one hand. Did I spell that wrong? I did spell that wrong. That's embarrassing. This is one hand here, folks. Revelation 13. This is what you get when you get live stream. Like the ESV for now. You go down. It was allowed to give breath to the image of the beast, that the image of the beast might even speak. It might cause those who would not worship the image of the beast to be slain. It causes all, both small, great, both rich and poor, free and slave, to be marked on the right hand or the forehead. So that's the mark. That is the mark, right hand or the forehead. We can get into the lexicon. The mark, charagma, a stamp or impress. Properly an engraving and etching. So, you can have as a brand, mark brand on a coin. It's really interesting, right? The whole the whole concept of cryptocurrencies. I've been looking at it and learning about it. And oh, what happened? You okay? And that's a big thing that's really been on my mind. You have these cryptocurrencies and you have all these tokens, right? And some of these token logos are not the best sort of representation of wholesomeness, I would say. Yeah. You getting hungry? Okay. All right. I think the baby needs some food. So I am going to sign off here. Thanks, guys, for watching. I'll try to do this more often. As you can see, it's a little bit crazy when I do it like this, but just wanted to get that information out there to you guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section or the chat room. I guess you guys can move it to the comment section if you guys want to really say something about anything I brought up here. And please support on Patreon if you haven't already. Thank you so much, guys, for doing that. You guys rock. Yes, I've been getting hit with the whole not ad-friendly thing. Even after a manual review, they're like, nope, not ad-friendly. Which, whatever, I saw that coming anyway. But, I don't really care now because you guys are supporting everything happening on this channel and, making it happen. So I appreciate it. Thank you, guys. God bless. Have an awesome day.